got this because they're pretty. It's pink and I love pink, so I'm like a bee. I'm just really thinking color in my garden, and I like to grow weird things. Kind of struck me as a very beautiful green. Let's let people know about all the beautiful things that they can grow in their gardens. Hi, I'm Lex and welcome to Sandals and Steel Toes. Today is a great day because we got seed mail. So I've been waiting about 2 weeks for this order to arrive. I am very excited that it has came. I still have one more order that should be coming next week, but I've got 34 seed packets here and I wanted to share what I got with y'all. So I'm gonna start off with my first smaller order, which came from a company called Seeds and Such. Now, I haven't ordered from them in the past. This is my first time that I'll be growing their seeds, so I can't vouch for the quality of them. However, they did come through the mail in a good amount of time, and I have some fun varieties. So first is the Mrs. Maxwell's tomato, which a viewer actually recommended after watching one of my taste test review videos. And this one is an heirloom variety from Italy. So Mrs. Maxwell was given some seeds about 30 years ago. She kept growing them in her gardens until a stabilized variety came to be, and these are the Mrs. Maxwell. It says that they yield 1 to 2 pound fruits, and they are dark pink beefsteak type tomatoes. So I am very interested in trying these this year. I'm also trying a hybrid pepper called the Big Bertha, and not that I need another pepper variety to try, but I bought it for the name, to be honest. My older sister and I, we've had these nicknames ever since I can remember, where she's Big Bertha and I'm Little Bertha. So when I saw the Big Bertha pepper, I was like, I gotta grow that. So I always like to grow plants when their names are kind of, you know, cheesy and makes me think of someone or something or a person's name. So the Big Bertha. Another hybrid pepper called Gypsy. These are sweet peppers that are kind of a cross between a bell pepper and a horn-shaped pepper. And I'm just not a huge fan of big bell peppers. I do like the more elongated ones. So I'm really interested in trying these ones. Peppers have been a little bit more of a challenging crop for me to grow. I can get them to grow, but I just haven't ever had like a really prolific bumper crop of peppers. So that's why I'm going the hybrid route on this one. And then they sent me 2 free seed packets. So they're doing an early bird special right now. If you go to the website and order any seeds before February 28th, they will send you these 2 free seed packets, and I'm not sponsored by them. I just found that out after the fact because I got 2 seed packets and I happened to check the website. I'm like, oh, that's why I got these. So before February 28, 2023, they are sending out these free packets with your order, and it is pepper, fire, and ice. So these are kind of like a ornamental kind of pepper. I think these would do really well in a pot near the house, you know, quick pick. And tomato chocolate pear, and it just so happens that I love dark tomatoes, and I'm actually really excited about this chocolate pear kind of cherry sized tomato. So this was a cool one to get. And so the rest of my order that I have today is coming from M.I. Gardner, a really sweet friend of mine. She gave me a gift certificate, so I applied that towards my order and then was able to get so many wonderful seeds. All right, I'm just gonna start with some of the beans that I got. So I like to, you know, just try different varieties and see how they do in the garden. The first one is a royal burgundy bean. Now, I got this because they're pretty. Like, sometimes I just like to buy different varieties because they look pretty, and this is pretty. Oriental yard-long beans. I have grown the red noodle beans in the past, and I like them. This is another variation. These are just green ones. So I kind of missed having the long, whimsical beans growing down my trellises. So that's what these are going to be growing on my arch trellis. And then I got another kind of bush bean. This is the Maxibel hair-caught bush bean. These are more really like thin, long beans, but they do have stringless pods, which I wanted because of whatever bean I grew last year had a lot of stringiness to it, and I kind of want to avoid that. So trying these out, long rod Perkins okra. I haven't had a wonderful experience with okra. I live in Northeast Ohio, so I've got a very northern climate. Our summers don't get crazy hot. Okra loves heat, and I just don't think it's like quite hot enough to have a really great crop of okra. But I do get kind of smaller plants and a couple pods here and there that do seem to grow. So this is more, I grow okra more for like snacking on it in the summer, not to preserve. So we'll see how these do. Green globe artichoke, kind of just your basic artichoke, but this is another one that's just kind of fun to grow in the garden. You don't really see this one out and about in the stores very often to buy fresh artichoke. I got a couple different kinds of celery. So the pink plume celery. Again, I'm growing this because it's pretty. I'm not like a big fan of celery or anything, but it's pink and I love pink, so I'm growing the pink celery. And I'm trying this giant Prague celery because you use the root instead of the stalk. So you use the root for soups, making stock. You can use it, blend it up for smoothies and stuff like that. So I'm just more curious on what I can do with this. Just trying to expand to different plants to grow and try and see what they do. Ruby red Swiss chard and yellow Swiss chard. I usually get the 5-pack variety blends, but I noticed that I don't love the white Swiss chard so much. And again, I'm just really thinking color in my garden and how I can kind of grow these plants in rows or bunches or alternate kind of how they're spaced out and just get a really lot of like beautiful color variety. So that's why I went with the red and yellow. I think they're both gonna pop out quite a bit amongst all of the other greenery. Purple sprouting broccoli, and I'm not gonna say this right, Di broccoli. Both of them are a sprouting broccoli. I prefer sprouting broccoli because we just go from a very cold spring into like 80-degree weather very quickly. Like there's really no lead up into summer. It's like, okay, it's spring and it's rainy and it's cold and now it's summer. So broccoli just never does really great for me in the springtime, but I have had the most success with the sprouting broccoli varieties. So that's what I'm going with this year, just to kind of focus on the sprouting kind. And really, I mean, you're cutting, they kind of make, you know, side, instead of like a big head, they kind of just grow little side shoots, and they're like broccoli florets. And so that works for me. I just eat them fresh, and we like that. Specifically the purple one because it's pretty. I have lots of purple things. We have Italian striped zucchini and Armenian yard-long cucumber. I like both of these because they're variegated. I like how you have some variety in the color patterns here. Garden is beautiful no matter what, but sometimes you just don't want everything to be green. Green. I like some white mixed in with the green and some other colors. I have done the striped zucchini in the past. It did pretty good. It tasted just as good as your normal green kind. So, and this variety, it says here that it's more tolerant to disease and will last later into the season than most other varieties. So that's something to keep in mind. And this will be my first year with the Armenian yard-long cucumber. I've heard great things about it, and it's also kind of fun. If you can see, it's kind of really long and snake-like, so I like to grow weird things and unusual things. Great conversation starters, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how these grow. Homemade pickles cucumber. Pretty basic on these. My son had a request that I make pickles that are kind of like whole pickles this year. Last year I did a lot of kind of, I used normal sized cucumbers and kind of cut them down the middle to make our pickles, and he didn't love that. So I'm gonna grow actual pickling cucumbers so that we can make homemade pickles. Such an easy thing to do. You can make them, keep them in your refrigerator. There's no canning involved unless you want to, but making homemade pickles is kind of a summer highlight. Getting into the kale, so the blue curled Scotch kale. Grown this variety before. I like it because the taste is really good with the blue kale, but also I noticed that the cabbage moths don't go after this variety as much as they do the lacinato kale or the ragged jack. For some reason, this blue curled kale, they don't go after it as much. Now that's just in my garden, but I'm gonna keep growing this as long as that seems to be true, because I have a terrible time with the cabbage moths and the worms in the springtime. So I'm really hoping this is good. But I'm gonna grow a lot of kale this year. I felt like last year I just never had enough of it. And Verdale spinach. It's very cold tolerant, and it says it lasts well without protection. This will actually be something that I get out pretty quickly. I'll probably even direct sow these into my raised bed right there behind my house where I'm keeping my greens. This, I hope, will probably be one of the first things that comes up this year. I got a bunch of onions. So I got the ruby red onion and Utah yellow sweet Spanish onion. Both of these are long day varieties, and they are said to do well in storage. So I don't use onions a whole lot, so it is important for me that they can store really well, so that way I can use them as I need them. And then I got the cipollini onion, which it's a short day onion. Yeah, this is a short day onion variety. I think I bought this one as a mistake because where I live, I'm in northern Ohio, so I really need to do the long day onions, and this is a short day. So not to say that it won't grow, it just might not get as big. I don't know. I haven't ever grown a short day onion, so I don't really know how it will do here. So I'm gonna try it out and we'll see what happens. The onions that I started in January, I've been having issues with them getting going. They weren't germinating, and I've since brought them in the house. They're germinating now, but a lot of them aren't coming up. I'm thinking the onion seeds were old. They're like 3 years old, and I know onion seeds can be kind of finicky. So I will probably just start over and get these going this week, because onions do take a long time to kind of get started. And if I want to plant them out, you know, in like April, May, I really need to get them going. So these are on the list to get worked on. Broadleaf Batavian Endive. This one's just really pretty. Again, this kind of struck me as a very beautiful green. Endive is also very cold hardy, so this is probably something that I will get started or direct sow this week as well, just to get it in the ground. And Endive just adds a lot of flavor to salads. I don't know that I would eat a salad with just endive. It might be too bitter, but to mix it in, it does make a salad come alive. It gives you just more taste instead of just, you know, sometimes salad can be just bland and watery and you have to add a lot of dressing and stuff. But if you add different kinds of greens in with it, it can accelerate your salad. Cayenne purple pepper. I've seen a lot of things going around on social media about how a lot of people weren't aware that powder cayenne pepper that you get for seasoning just in little shaker jars, that they come from cayenne peppers, which there's a lot of different types of flavorings and things that come from different foods that I'm not even aware of. Like, I'm always learning this stuff too. So when I saw the cayenne purple pepper, I was like, I would like to grow that this year. It was really pretty and just help for educational purposes. Like, this is the kind of pepper that you would grow for making your own cayenne pepper powder. And it's purple and pretty. Okay, and then lastly, I got a bunch of herbs. So I really want to increase the amount of herbs that we're growing and kind of have like a dedicated herb space for perennial herbs, things that are medicinal to start. Just have more variety. I have your basic culinary herbs like sage and rosemary and thyme and things like that, but I wanted to expand out of that and get more into the medicinal side as well. And even if I don't use them regularly, like, I feel good about knowing I have these things growing in the garden. And then at some point in time, I would like to get more into herbalism and learn about that. But, you know, that's down the road. I'm gonna focus on learning how to grow the plants, at least right now. So I've got fennel, and fennel is good to use medicinally in a tea to help with digestion. It also tastes very good. Fennel seeds is used in a lot of cooking. A couple months back, I was looking up how to make your own breakfast sausage seasoning. So instead of buying something pre-made, how can I make my own seasoning to make like a breakfast sausage taste? And fennel seeds was one of the ingredients used in that recipe for flavoring. So just kind of fun little tidbit there. I'm really excited about trying this one. It's called Cilantro, which is cilantro's Mexican cousin. So this is a Mexican heirloom and is stronger, more pungent cilantro flavor than its cousin. So it's meant to be used kind of in small quantities, but the thing is, in the middle of summer, when your tomatoes and peppers are all coming in and harvesting, and you want to make salsa or other Mexican inspired dishes, they always call for cilantro. But cilantro hates heat. My cilantro will grow in March, April, May. And then it might come back in September, October, November. So the time frame between like June through September, I've got no cilantro because it goes to seed. It does not like the heat. And so cilantro is going to be my alternative to try out this year to see, because this likes heat. And if it tastes similar enough, then it might be a good substitution. So I am excited to see. And it's a perennial in zones 10 and 11. So if you're way down south, you can grow this as perennial. For me though, this will definitely be an annual. I've got fenugreek. So I'm familiar with fenugreek because when I was breastfeeding 10, 12 years ago, I took a lot of fenugreek capsules to help with my breast milk production. And so I wanted to get this growing in my garden just to see how it grows and how I can harvest it and how I can use it. Not that I need it right now or anything, but in the future, you know, I may need fenugreek again, and I always prefer to use what we grow here instead of buying something. So that's why I just want to learn about fenugreek and how to grow that and harvest it. But even if you're not a lactating woman, you can also just cook with it. It has a really nice caramel maple taste to it, and it has a strong curry flavor. So you know, you can use this in a variety of ways. I'm trying out St. John's wort. So this one says that when harvested, it can be brewed as a tea to treat the symptoms of insomnia, depression, and anxiety, and used topically in the form of essential oils to treat sunburn, arthritis, and muscle pain. And this is a perennial in zones 4 through 8. So once this gets established, it will continue to grow year after year. I won't have to reseed it. So I was very interested in trying this one to see, you know, if it does actually help with some of the ailments that are listed here. Then we have hyssop. What attracted me to this one was the flowers. So pollinators love it. I love the color and I thought it was pretty. So I'm like a bee, I guess. I'm a bee or a butterfly. It is a perennial in zones 4 through 8. So again, this will come up year after year here. But it says that the scent is a combination of licorice, basil, and lemon. So I imagine a really delicious hyssop tea that we can drink. I mean, that sounds really good, hot or cold. So once the flowers bloom, that's when you harvest the flowers and you can dry it out and make tea. This one's pretty cool. I have the Toothache Plant. So these little yellow gumdrop flowers, you can chew on them and it will numb your tongue and mouth to ease discomfort. So, you know, having young kids here, I felt that it's probably good to have something like this, especially, you know, as they're getting older and they're losing teeth and stuff. They might like to have something to chew on. It also says that the shiny green leaves and the bold yellow flowers have a spicy citrus flavor. So I'm sure there's a lot of ways you could use this. And then lastly, Vera lavender. So I already have several lavender plants, but it has been a desire of mine to interplant lavender where my blueberries are. I just imagine having these beautiful big blueberry bushes with plumes of you know, low growing purple lavender underneath all of them. I've had this idea in mind for a couple of years since I put the blueberry plants in, what was that, 21? I think it was 2021 when I put the blueberry plants in. So I need to get a lot of lavender started and planted in order to make that come a reality. Been talking about it for years, so I finally got the seeds. So maybe this is the year that I'm gonna get my big crop of lavender going, because I'm also thinking of it as an investment, because people love lavender and to purchase fresh lavender. When I've done some farmers markets, my bundles of lavender always go. Like, of everything that I've tried to sell, lavender is the one that people will buy at the farmers market. I really want to get some more production going of the lavender. This one is perennial in zones 5 through 8. So again, this will come back year after year. This one also does require cold stratification. So in order for these seeds to germinate, they have to be in a cold environment. I think it's like 35 degrees or lower for, I don't know, several weeks. I'm gonna have to like look into the exact amount of time for the cold stratification, but I figured that I was going to winter sow this. So I've got some more milk jugs, and I'm going to fill those with soil, put the seeds in there, keep them outside, because we're still gonna have cold weather for the next 2 months. So they'll get the cold stratification, and then they'll germinate at the proper time. So I'm very excited to get my lavender farm going, and we'll see if this actually works out. Big dreams, right? Gotta have your goals and things that you wanna do. So those are all the seeds that I got in this order. I do have another order coming from Baker Creek, so I will share all of those with you once that order comes in as well. Let me know if you grow any of these varieties. I always like to hear how they do in people's gardens, no matter where you are. So please leave a comment below, like this video, and share it out with your friends. I think just a really cool part about this platform is that we can let so many people know about all of the varieties of food and plants there are out there. Like, we don't have to stick to just what the big box stores sell us. There are so many different kinds out there, and I'm like, people gotta know about all of these because there's so many cool, pretty things to try. So if you could share out the video with your friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, let's let people know about all the beautiful things that they can grow in their gardens. And really, even if you choose not to grow anything ever, by showing interest in different varieties, you can inspire your local farmers to grow these things too and sell them at farmers markets. So if someone came to me, like if I did a lot of farmers markets and someone came to me and they're like, you know what, I really love Armenian yard-long cucumbers. I think they're unique and they look pretty and they taste good, but I can't find them anywhere. You know, if you grew these, I would buy them from your farmer's market stand every week, right? And then that would be like, to me, like as a farmer, I'd be like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. I'm gonna grow this because there's a market for it. So even if you don't wanna ever grow these things yourself, just having an awareness of what is even out there, you can have those conversations with people. Imagine a world with more food variety. I mean, it's out there. We just have to kind of go and find it. And the more that we talk about all of these things, the more readily available we might see them on shelves, farmers markets, in your grocery store, but we got to show interest in it to begin with. So please share out with everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.